to kickstart Closers Camp, we're gonna jump right into one of my favorite topics to talk about, which is happiness and success. We're gonna dive right into start with happiness. Now, of course, a 160-some page book, and the first thing that we're talking about is being happy. Why would I start off this sales training book with a simple subject as being happy? Well, the first thing that I firmly believe in is success is not the key to happiness. I know many people in my life that are widely successful, have all the money you could ever imagine, however, are not necessarily happy people. They still have misery as a chain shackling them down, preventing them from living a truly rich life. Because a lot of times, as Dr. and June will tell you, we have a tendency to sacrifice our health and our relationships for wealth. There's a quote I wanted to read to everybody that I think is really profound, and this is actually written in 300 BC. This is written in 300 BC. So I want you to think about this. It says, when health is absent, wisdom cannot reveal itself, art cannot manifest, strength cannot fight, wealth becomes useless, and intelligence cannot be applied. Now, what a lot of people don't know, of course, there's a lot of things we can do proactively with our diet to remain healthy, but also your mindset actually has a direct impact on your health and well-being as a human being. They've actually done studies that prove that positive self-talk and positive feelings and emotions actually have a positive influence on your cells and the health and well-being of your physiology. Whereas if you have negative thoughts and feelings, stinking thinking, you're stressed out, full of anxiety over time, that actually increases the toxicity in your body and is destructive to your health and well-being. So being happy is one of the keys to success, and that's why I love that Albert Schweitzer quote, is success is not the key to happiness, rather it's the opposite. Happiness is the key to success. Now, in its simplest form, think of every house that you go into. Who do people want to be around? People that have negative thoughts and feelings, have stinking thinking, are down and out? Or people that are positive and radiate joy and happiness?
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
Again, the important thing about sales, we all have problems in our life, but it's important that we leave our problems in our car. They'll be waiting for us when we get back. Now, why is it so difficult to remain happy? Well, happiness is just like anything in life. It requires daily, intentional discipline. If you're just hoping that happiness will fall upon your lap someday, it's never going to happen. Now, the good news is, regardless of your success in life or your achievements, you can make a decision to be happy at any stage in your life. There's some sales trainers out there that say, I've never been poor and happy. Now, of course, money does help a lot of things, but money doesn't solve everything. Money doesn't actually solve whatever negative thoughts, feelings, and misery you have in your life. And as a matter of fact, it tends to amplify who you are as a person. So if I'm a miserable, negative human being without money, I'm going to be more miserable and negative with a lot of money. Whereas the opposite is true. If I'm a happy person and joyful and positive, I'm a joy to be around, I'm going to be able to share that love and positivity, that positive joy and energy with more people, being more financially well off. So there's actually a quote dating back to 2500 BC by Buddha. And not that I follow Buddhism, it's just I thought it was very profound. Of course, the God of happiness. He actually said that there's no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. Now, how do we intentionally make sure that we're happy? The first thing that you have to do is intentionally show gratitude for all the good things that are happening in your life every single day. They say the average person has hundreds of great things that happen to them every single day. However, what do we tend to dwell on? that one negative thing, that one issue, that one problem that happened to us, and it ruins our entire day. So now, today, it's safe to assume that we're being exposed to more negative influences than ever before in our lifetime. We're getting attacked from negativity from all directions. So whether you talking about what's on the media, what's on social media, turn the TV off. We can't control what's going on in the world. But the one thing you can control is your mindset, and whether or not you have a negative attitude or a positive attitude. So sales is a transference of feeling and emotion, and that's why we spend so much time in our training bringing together bright minds that can help sales warriors get control over their mindset so they can reprogram their mindset to be a positive-oriented mind.
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
And that's going to translate into greater success and performance. Because I firmly believe that life is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, those of you watching, reflect on this. Have you ever gone on a sales hot streak before? Have you ever had it where you close 3, 4, 5 deals in a row? I actually met a salesperson that in 1 month closed 40 sales in a row. Now, how are you feeling after you just got done closing 5, 10, 15, 20 sales in a row? You feel unstoppable. You feel invincible. Your level of confidence and joy is radiating. Who you are speaks so loudly I can hardly hear a word you're saying. So when you go into every house radiating that joy, that confidence, that attitude, right? That positive attitude. It's an attitude business through and through. People can sense that, they can feel that. And the more confident and happy you are in yourself, the more confident the prospects will be in you. So it's absolutely vital to count your blessings, and this has to be intentional. It starts with you literally getting a blank sheet of paper and start to write down all the positive things that happen to you each day. Did you get to sleep in a cozy bed instead of sleeping outside in the blizzard? Do you have a car that can take you from A to B and sometimes C, depending on where the leads are? Do you have people in your life that care about you, that love you? Do you have family? Do you have children? Do you have a dog that loves you, right? Dogs are one of the greatest companions there is. But whatever it is, count your blessings and be intentional about what you're grateful for. And I promise you that having that gratitude attitude is going to have a major influence on your sense of happiness, your sense of fulfillment in your life. And when you're hit with those negative things, just understand that you don't have to give in to that negative energy. Now in life, and you may have heard this a million times before, but it's worth repeating, it's important that you understand that you become the average of the top 5 people you spend the most time with. So have this personal reflection, do this personal reflection on your own life, your friends, your family, the people you spend the most time with. Are the people that I'm talking to day in and day out motivating me? Are they uplifting me? Are they encouraging me? Are they a positive influence on my life? Are some of these people I talk to day in and day out the type of person I want to strive to be? They're a role model and a positive influence for you. Or am I spending most of my days talking with people that are bitching and moaning and complaining and have negative thoughts and attitudes all day long? Those people are bogging you down and holding you back from achieving your goals. So my advice is we have to be intentional about who we're spending our time with, intentionally spending less time with those people that bring a negative energy and more time with people that motivate us and encourage us to pursue our goals and aspirations for the future. So there's a lot of things I can talk about for hours just in terms of happiness, but it's important that we are intentional, just like any diet or fitness regimen, about our sense of happiness. Now, one book I definitely recommend, I want everyone to write this book down.
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
It's one of my favorite books of all time. It's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. Now, the main foundational theme of Psycho-Cybernetics is we have this brain. That's the cybernetic mechanism. That's the machine. However, what we have the ability to do is to control this machine at an unconscious level. We actually have the ability to basically program and control and guide this unbelievable computer that we have in our heads in any direction which we want this to go. And the author of this book is a man by the name of Maxwell Maltz. He used to be a plastic surgeon, world-renowned plastic surgeon, and was sent him on this quest to determine what dictates human behavior and the different habits we form all the time. He actually found that there was this phenomenon called the self-image. The self-image is simply our mental picture of ourselves that we hold in the theater of our mind. And what sent him on this quest in the beginning was he would do plastic surgery on individuals that had an insecurity. They have what they appeared to be a physical deformity or something that made them insecure. So it impacted their confidence, their social life, their relationships. So it had a negative influence on their behavior and actions in life as a whole. And what he found was interesting is occasionally when he would perform plastic surgery, which is simply finding a remedy or a solution to that physical insecurity, it would turn these people into completely different people. So what he realized is, even though it was just a physical remedy that he was solving, it seemed to cut more than just skin deep. When he's performing plastic surgery, it seemed to cut deep into the psyche, and these people not only looked different, but they became totally different people. So they became more confident, more outgoing, more social, more active in relationships, friends, family, spouses, whatever it is. Now, sometimes the opposite was true. He would fix some individual of their physical impairment or insecurity, and they still walked around as if that was still holding them back. They still saw themselves as being ugly. They still saw themselves as not being worthy or good enough to be socially active and outgoing. So that is because the self-image they hold in the theater of their mind is so deeply seared into their mind that even when that problem is solved, it didn't fix the problem. So it sent him on this 20-year quest to figure out the root of it all, and he found that the root of all human behavior is the self-image. So a little bit of self-reflection here. When you think of yourself, how do you define yourself? Who are you? That's a simple question to ask. But I guarantee if you walk to people down the street or talk to your friends and family, your coworkers, and simply ask them, who are you? You're gonna have very few people that can give you an intelligent answer to that question. It's not something that we think about too often, is it? Now, when you have a self-image of yourself, how you picture yourself, is it a positive self-image? Or do you have some negative thoughts and feelings that actually start trickling in?
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
Maybe you feel like you're not good looking enough. Maybe you feel like you're not intelligent enough. Maybe you feel like you're not a natural born salesperson. Maybe your fear blocks you. You don't have courage. Whatever, you may have some negative thoughts and feelings. I had a self-image when I was a kid that I sucked at math. The reason why is because I had a difficult time when I was really young, like 5, 6, 7, 8, first, second, third grade. I had a difficult time on math tests. So I started developing this self-image that I sucked at math. And because I had this image of myself being poor at math, it would result in me doing poor on the math test, which reinforced the belief that I'm bad at math. Then I finally had an epiphany. It took all the way until I went to college. And I realized that I didn't have to let this self-image that I've been carrying around my whole life define who I'm going to be for the rest of my life. I was in college wrestling. And of course, in wrestling, you pour your blood, sweat, and tears into training, into working hard, leaving it all on the mat, right? But when I ended up so-called retiring from wrestling, I made a promise to myself that I'm no longer going to make excuses for struggling in my academics. I simply made a promise to myself that from this day forward, I'm going to pour the same amount of work, blood, sweat, and tears into my academics for once that I once did into wrestling. And then my life changed. I went from being a D student, D's get degrees, right? To getting A's and B's. I ended up being recognized in several of my classes, one of the top in class, and I ended up getting an A+ in a math class. It's absolutely astounding what the right self-image can do. Now, the reason why this is important is you as a sales professional hold in your mind, your self-image, a certain value in which you're worth. You may value yourself as a 6-figure income earner. Now, what does that even mean? It means I value myself around $100,000. Now, what is $100,000 today? I'd hate to break the bad news, but today, $100,000, families are living paycheck to paycheck making 6 figures. So what should your goal actually be? Multiple 6-figure income. $500,000. How many of you believe that you can make $1 million freaking dollars a year doing outside sales in this business? That may seem like a stretch, doesn't it? Now, what's $1 million a year? It's just over $2,700 per day. Now, think about it honestly. If someone put a gun to your head, so to speak, and said, I need you to write enough business today to make $2,700 commission, or I'm going to pull the trigger. If you have that level of incentive, could you do it? What if you had that level of desire, that burning desire every day? Now, that's of course $2,700 a day would equate to $1 million a year in commission. Now, what if you wanted the weekends off?
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
That's $3,200 a day. So what I want everyone to start doing right now is raise the bar on what they think is possible, truly stretch themselves, because you would be absolutely blown away by what you can achieve with the right mindset. But this requires that you reprogram your self-image, and this is why I have Sean Foyer coming on in a little bit. He's going to teach you guys the proven method to reprogram your subconscious mind, to reprogram your self-image so it's more congruent and aligned with your goals and aspirations. But it's important, whatever you want to achieve, you need to start walking, talking, acting, and behaving as if you already are that person. So if I want to do $3 million in 2024, starting today, I need to start telling myself, I am a $3 million producer. I am. The clock just hasn't caught up yet. And you need to believe that and fuel that with a burning desire. And I promise you, if you keep repeating that over and over and you live that every single day, your probability of hitting 3 million is almost undeniable. It's almost guaranteed. So it's vitally important that you live your life making up your mind and constantly recalibrating your self-image so it's constantly growing with you as time goes on. Now, one thing that prevents people from taking risks and growing in life is the fear of failure. Now, I like to describe going through life like a duck on the water, right? It's okay to have fear, but you want to feel the fear and do it anyway. So if you look at a duck on the water, it appears to be gliding around effortlessly on the surface. But little do you know, beneath the surface, the thing's paddling frantically trying to stay afloat. So now, if you think of yourself, I want every sales warrior watching this right now from today on to describe themselves as a heat-seeking missile. Now, if I were to shoot a heat-seeking missile and it hits its target, that's a successful mission, true? Little do you know that a heat-seeking missile, because it's constantly tracking the heat signature, will make hundreds if not thousands of corrections to its trajectory before it hits its target. Now, if you want to be truthful about that, every course correction is a failure. It's a mistake. It's a problem. Does the heat-seeking missile stop when it makes a failure? When it's slightly off course? When it's not quite going in the right direction? Or does it keep making adjustments and keep failing forward? That's exactly the way we have to go through life, is being willing to face our fears head on and not be afraid to fail. So I can tell you, I've failed many times in my life, and one thing I've learned, this is a lesson that was taught to me, is you gotta be proud with every failure, because that's your greatest opportunity for growth. And with every failure, that means you put yourself out there and tried. And trying is what matters most, not being afraid. And a lot of times, we define ourselves as nouns when we should be defining these things as verbs. Let me give you an example of what I mean.
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
Occasionally, a sales rep will go through a bad stretch in sales. That doesn't mean you are a bad salesperson. That means you had a bad stretch in sales, but that doesn't define you. You will make mistakes, but mistakes will not make you. And that's the fill in the blank there. You will make mistakes, mistakes will not make you. You may have failed. That does not make you a failure. As a matter of fact, I think the most courageous people, the ones that are the most successful in life, have failed the most. Anyone heard of Thomas Edison? The guy that invented the light bulb? He's famous for failing 10,000 times at making the light bulb. And he had the right mindset. He said, you know what, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just figured out 10,000 ways that didn't work. So that's a positive way to look at it. It didn't stop him from being one of the revolutionary inventors and scientists in the world today. And of course, his invention still has an impact on all of us as human beings for the rest of humanity, right? Now, there's a quote here by Napoleon Hill. Now, of course, I mentioned Psycho-Cybernetics, I mentioned Napoleon Hill. Two books you absolutely must have in your library are Psycho-Cybernetics and Think and Grow Rich. And I'm a firm believer that it's not necessarily that you need to hammer through 10 books. I think you need to read the right book 10 times and truly live it and internalize it and experience it. I do public speaking for audiences of owners and CEOs, and I've been in front of audiences of 800 people. And I always ask, raise your hand if you've ever watched or read the book, Think and Grow Rich. And this is, of course, a foundational training that Sean Foyer does. And almost every rich person in the audience raises their hand. I'm like, it makes sense. Most rich people have. So if this is something you truly desire, those are books that are a must-have in your library. But Napoleon Hill said the following quote. He said, with every failure brings with it the seed of equivalent success.
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
Every failure brings with it the seed of equivalent success. It's almost like every cloud has a silver lining. The problem is, though, the moment that someone's hit with failure, they tend to stop or give up. However, if you can just push through your fears, eat that frog, and overcome your fears and redefine them as challenging and exciting opportunities for growth, on the other side of that, you're going to find equivalent or greater success. That's what I love about that quote. It's absolutely vital. Now, of course, all these things tie into self-limiting beliefs, and we tie that into poverty of the mind. And this is why I mentioned at the very beginning of this training, the only competition that matters, sales warriors watching this, is you. The competition sucks, let's be honest. The competition is weak. What is the work ethic of the average person these days? You just look around. How hard are people willing to invest into their success in life? How much work are they willing to put into their own personal success? None. So if I truly take responsibility for working hard, of course, get beyond my self-limiting beliefs, take the shackles of misery off, take the lid off the jar, and push through my fears head on, and redefine those as challenging and exciting opportunities, you're gonna have nothing but abundance and prosperity waiting for you at the end of the day. So very, very powerful stuff. So it's important as we're going through this book that we're filling in those blanks. So those fill in the blanks will be on the final exam. So if you go to the next page here, you're gonna see we have some questions that we wanna do, some evaluations, and this has to do with your self-image again. How do you identify yourself? What are your strengths and weaknesses, right? What are the things that you're naturally good at? What are the things you can improve upon? Now, one thing I want to debunk right now is that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Now, this level of growth and creativity, I get it, gets conditioned out of us throughout our life. But there's no difference between somebody that's 20, 30, 40 years old, 50 years old, even 7 years old. They have the same ability to learn new information as anyone at any age. It's just that children, because they're trying to literally learn how to talk, they're trying to learn how to act, they're trying to learn how to behave, how to think, they don't have those self-limiting beliefs yet. They're not selling themselves short, so of course they're a sponge. They absorb all this information. Their creativity is absolutely off the charts. But you have the same ability to learn new information that anybody does. It's all about taking responsibility. Now, one of the things you hear Dan Coombsbury and I talking about is school is never out for the closer. So there's no excuse for an outside salesperson to continue their education, especially with the amount of time you spend in your car. So one thing I used to preach to all my salespeople, you got to turn your car into your mobile library. The average amount of time you're going to spend in your car in an outside sales profession is between 6 and 8 years of your life.
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
How much information can you learn in 6 to 8 years? So they say if you want to hide the secrets of the world, just put it in a library. No one will find it there. I used to interview salespeople that had 20, 30 years of experience, and I asked them, when's the last book they've read? And they said, well, I don't read, Dominic. Well, when's the last time you received training or attended a seminar? Well, when I first started in the industry, year one, they put me through some corporate training. I've just been repeating that for the last 20 years. So essentially, you got 1 year of training, you've just been repeating it like Groundhog Day, not growing and evolving over time. So it's important that we as salespeople take our education seriously. And we understand that school is truly never out for the closer. Now I want to talk about the Grosso University definition of success. It's important that everybody understand this. You are successful when you have a definite, worthwhile written goal with a precise date and you are presently moving towards it. Now, why do we say our Grosso University definition of success that your goal has to be in writing? Now, I live in the state of Wisconsin. So when I was actively in the home selling, it was mandatory that, of course, when we closed the sale, that we had the signature from the prospects, the new customers, and we had a projected start and end date. If I were to turn in a sale to my management or the owners of the company and say the following, I was at my last appointment and they verbally committed that they're definitely going to be moving forward. Is that going to count as a sale or is that going to count as a no sale? If you just got a verbal agreement, nothing's in writing, no deadline to start the work or end the work. That's the same exact way your goals are. If you have a goal that you're just internalizing in your mind or verbalizing, it's just as valid as smoke in the wind.
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
So what's the important element of setting goals for ourselves? We need to put that goal in writing and give ourselves deadlines. If you give yourself a deadline, it holds you accountable. Now you have a legally binding contract with yourself. And then as long as I'm moving towards achieving that goal day in and day out, I'm progressively realizing that goal or ideal, I am in fact successful. So I hope that everyone listening to this virtual closers camp understands you are all successful right now. And again, I want to congratulate you on taking the leap into your education to learn something new. The reason why you're all successful is I hope that everyone feels that by sitting through this virtual sales training event for the next few days, you're going to take away some useful insights, some ideas, some golden nuggets. They're going to help you excel and move forward in your career. And as long as you are investing in yourself and moving forward towards achieving your goals of being a top sales warrior, being the best version of yourself, because again, to be a good salesperson requires being a good person, you are in fact successful. So I want to congratulate each and every one of you for taking that first step. Now we hear this word goal often. A lot of people throw the word goal around a lot. And I often ask salespeople, when I say the word goal, what does that mean to you? How would you define a goal? And the definition of a goal, and this is according to Google, the interweb, is an object or desired result of a person's ambition or effort. So when you hear the word goal being thrown around, understand that a goal by definition is an object or desired result of a person's ambition or effort. And the reason why that's important to understand that definition is because ambition and effort are literally in the definition of what a goal is. Does that mean a goal is something that could just be handed to you? Why is it that we as human beings have no sense of fulfillment and gratification when things are just given to us and we had to put no work into it? So my wife and I have done a couple half marathons. She has an idea that she may want to train for a full marathon at one point in her life. But we like running, right? Yeah, I don't look like a runner. I'm a pretty husky guy, but believe it or not, I like running long distance. But I like to think to myself, if I were to show up to a marathon in Madison, Wisconsin here, the Madison Half Marathon, I show up to the start line, they just put a medal over my neck and say, congratulations, good job. I didn't put any training into it, any discipline, any work. I didn't have to run the marathon, they just gave me the medal. How much would that medal mean to me? Approximately nothing. What makes that medal meaningful? The amount of work, the amount of discipline, the actual experience, the journey of running that half marathon. That's what makes that medal meaningful. And that's the same way life is. So if you want to be the most fulfilled individual in life, you got to be a goal-oriented mechanism. And I like it when people define this as riding a bicycle, because human beings have to be moving forward in order to feel fulfillment in life.
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
The moment you stop living, your body stops living. It starts shutting down. Now think of it this way. If you're on a bicycle, those of you that have a bike, and the bike is not moving, it's just sitting there stationary. First of all, how much fun is that? First of all, how much sense of balance and equilibrium do you have? How much confidence do you feel? What direction are you able to steer that bicycle if it's not moving? You're not able to experience new things, accomplish new things. You take that same bicycle though and you start pedaling, you start putting in the work, the effort, the perspiration, the ambition. You start moving, all of a sudden, it becomes more enjoyable. You see new things, you experience new things. Your sense of balance and confidence and equilibrium is greatly improved. That's the exact same way life is. So the most important thing is if you're looking for fulfillment in life and take your life to the next level, gratification, give yourself goals, hold yourself accountable. And again, every goal is a journey. It's important to know that the journey, the ride to achieving the goal is the most fulfilling part of it all. One analogy I like to use is if you ever go on vacation, of course, on your way to the vacation, you have some excitement because you're going to see someplace new. You're going to experience new things, going somewhere tropical or very interesting, historical in nature. While you're vacationing, while you're experiencing the journey, it's a super amazing experience. You're having the time of your life. After you go on vacation and you've achieved that goal and you're flying back home, how do you feel? What are you thinking about? Your next vacation, right? So that's why it's important to continue to establish new goals for yourself, continue to raise the bar and move forward. The vision is long-term. I like to think of a vision as a destination. What does your future look like? What are you gonna do when in the next 5, 10, 20 years? What's your lifestyle gonna be? Everyone wanna know the ultimate vision of all time, and this is something that's not easy to do, but I actually learned this from a friend of mine, Dr. Injun Tong, who's gonna be speaking tomorrow. He said the ultimate vision is if everyone takes a second and writes their obituary. Now, that may sound negative, but I want you to think about what that means. What is your obituary gonna say when you pass on to another life? What are people gonna remember you by? What legacy have you left in this world? What impact have you had on the people in your life? What are they gonna say about you? Now, some of you may not care about that, but to me, that matters. And that's the ultimate vision, right? Because that's the ultimate destination. Now, hopefully everyone watching this lives a long, prosperous, abundant, fun, and exciting life, right? So this isn't something you're writing an obituary for the next 10 years. So let's say you live to be 120.
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
What legacy are you gonna leave on this world? So you see that vision for your future. Now, what goals am I gonna have to accomplish and achieve in my life to make sure that that vision becomes a reality? If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And it's often not the road that you want. So you could be the best sniper in the world, but if you don't know where your target is and you're blindfolded, you're never gonna hit it. So we need to get laser focused on what our vision is. So those of you watching this, if you're an owner or sales leader, one of the first things you should have everyone in your sales team do is create a vision board. Create a vision board. Every salesperson must have this. And I'm not talking about some app on your phone. I'm talking an actual board, a canvas, or a cardboard cutout where you take the time to post all the things that you're striving for in your life. And you keep working towards those with the goals. So the vision is the destination. And I like to think of the goals you achieve along the way as the vehicle or modes of transportation. So of course, to get to any destination, I need some sort of transportation, right? Each goal I achieve ideally should be taking me towards my vision for my future. Now with any vehicle or mode of transportation, it needs some sort of fuel or power source to propel it towards your vision. And those are the ideas. With every goal, you can come up with infinite ideas on what it takes to achieve that goal. Now the example I use in my training is a few years ago, it's actually about 8 years ago now, my wife and I had our first child, my son Elijah. And those of you watching, some of you may relate to this. Occasionally when your wife gets pregnant, what happens to the husband? They end up gaining what? Sympathy weight? So I ended up gaining about 45 pounds of sympathy weight when my wife was pregnant with our first child. And this was really humiliating because my wife, with another human being inside of her, only gained 25 pounds. And one of the really embarrassing parts is within a week after giving birth to our first child, she got down to her pre-pregnancy weight instantly. And there I was, still 45 pounds heavier, overweight. I was feeling really horrible about myself and my choices. So what did I end up doing is I ended up committing to a bodybuilding competition with a friend of mine. So we ended up partnering up. I had the accountability partner. We signed up for a bodybuilding competition. I had 7 months to go from being significantly overweight, out of shape, to getting into bodybuilding shape.
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
And you can read the story here, but to fast forward, in 7 months, I lost over 60 pounds, completely transformed myself, got absolutely shredded and stage ready. And out of 13 athletes, I took 4th place in my division and took home a massive trophy. Now, the reason why that's important is that would have never happened unless I had that goal and that deadline to achieve it. Every day that I was in the weight room training, doing cardio, I was picturing that moment where I was on stage in front of 300 people, almost completely naked, going through my posing routine. I didn't want to humiliate myself. That image I held in my head was inspiring, was motivating to me. And I had that deadline. The subconscious mind loves deadlines. Now, that's the goal, right? Bodybuilding. What are some of the ideas now I can come up with to make that goal come true? I need to eat better. I need to cut out drinking alcohol. I need to start meal prepping. I need to make sure that I'm hanging around the right people that are positive influence and support me in my goal. Again, positive mindset, drink more water. There's a lot of ideas. Do more cardio, more sprints, more repetitions. Put in the effort. Stay clean. Obviously, 95% of any diet or transformation is what you're eating and what you're drinking, right? So the whole point is there's clear ideas that I could come up with to achieve my goal. Any goal is a journey, and it begins with the very first step. Brian Tracy made a profound claim. He actually said that 85% of people that have a goal that's in writing with a deadline to achieve it, achieve the goal. So it must mean that 85% of people are successful, right? As we know, that's not the case whatsoever. It's because people don't hold themselves accountable. There's a famous study that a lot of people talk about. It's a Harvard longitudinal study where they tracked Harvard graduates 30 years post-graduation, almost into retirement age, to figure out who was the most successful individuals. And 3% of the class admitted to be goal-oriented mechanisms where they actually gave themselves goals and deadlines to achieve them. And the 3% of Harvard graduates that were goal-oriented made more money than the bottom 97% combined. So it starts with holding yourself accountable and not being afraid. Again, overcome your fears. Think of them as positive challenging and exciting opportunities for growth. Again, you become what you think about. You can only hold one thought in your mind at a time, positive or negative. So this is why you're going to see throughout the training, it's important that early in the day that I'm intentional about the positive thoughts I'm programming into my mind, and then thinking about those thoughts all day long as time goes on. Because it's not enough just to do a positive affirmation in the morning and then be done. Every word you say, every thought you have into your mind is an opportunity for an affirmation.
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
Again, Earl Nightingale, you become what you think about most of the time is the fill in the blank there. Success lies within the 6 inches between your ears. If there's something you want in life, act and believe as if you already have it, and what's done is done. That's the power of the made-up mind. But just understand your life is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If I go into every house with positive ideas, thoughts, and feelings, that's going to give me a positive outward appearance towards others. And that positive outward appearance is going to give my prospects a positive feeling about me as a trusted advisor, which is going to translate into a positive reaction and a positive result in return. If I go into a house with prejudgment, negative thinking, negative thoughts, not wanting to be there, going through the motions, that's going to give me a negative outward appearance towards others and translate into a negative result in return. Just understand though, at any point in time, no matter what's going on in your life, you can decide to have a positive thought and feeling, but you got to be intentional about the thoughts that are going on. One thing I like sharing with audiences all over the country is don't allow yourself to be sniopped. What that means is you're susceptible to the negative influences of other people. Do not allow yourself to be sniopped. It's absolutely vital that you stay positive. Now we talk about the definition of insanity. Everyone knows this quote, but it's worth repeating. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. There was a study done by the National Science Foundation. They actually found that 80% of internal thought and self-talk is negative. Now this is pretty darn debilitating if you understand that the average human being has between 10 and 60,000 thoughts going through their mind every day. So you have between 8 and 40,000 negative thoughts going through your head every day. It's a wonder you can drag your ass out of bed and function. So now what they actually found though is 90% of those thoughts are repetitive. So every single day we're having the same unproductive thoughts and feelings that we had yesterday. This is why it's hard for people to change. It's hard for people to change their self-image. This is why it's important to be deliberate about programming my mind with the positive thoughts and feelings. Because consciously we're limited. Your conscious brain is trying to keep you alive, so it's scanning the environment for threats, for anything out of the ordinary. They said the average person is exposed to 10 million bits of information per second. However, our conscious mind can only analyze and understand 10 to 15 bits of information because it's looking for things to keep you alive and keep you functioning. So this is why this is absolutely important. Now this quote here on page 18, it says, winners focus on winning while losers focus on winners. Now on one hand, it's important to have role models and people you look up to. It's good to strive to be a certain type of individual, especially if there's someone you admire. But at the same time, you don't want to discourage yourself either because you are one of a kind. You're truly the only person that's just like you.
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
So the most important thing we need to do to continue to improve and grow is get a little bit better each and every day. Be a better version of ourselves. And if I'm laser focused and I got the blinders on and becoming a better version of myself every day, before you know it, your competition will be left in the rearview mirror. They're going to be left in the dust. So that's the best way to live through life, is daily improvement. Try to sharpen the axe and get a little better each day. Now, as we wrap up this chapter here on being happy and successful, one of the last things I want to talk about here is actually by Napoleon Hill on page 21. He says, no greater effort in life is required to demand abundance and prosperity than is required to accept misery and poverty. It's simply making up your mind which path you're going to choose in your life. Either I'm going to choose nothing but abundance and prosperity because I deserve it, or I'm going to accept misery and poverty as an unavoidable reality of my life. Now, the important thing to know is those roads go in opposing directions. So if I want abundance and prosperity, I need to refuse to accept any circumstance that leads me towards poverty and misery. That's why the most important sale is selling yourself to yourself. You do deserve it, and staying laser focused, and you'll find that sometimes to choose the road of prosperity and misery requires more work, pain, and suffering. Whereas if you make up your mind that you deserve abundance and prosperity, and make up your mind and let it work itself out, and this is all stuff that Sean Foyer is going to be talking about, you'd be pleasantly surprised that that'll become absolutely undeniable. One of the things I talk about, one of the last pages, is if you just take a second every single day to start writing down some ideas, and I recommend doing this early in the morning. Again, only takes one idea to change your life. So if I'm writing down 5 to 10 ideas a day, that's over 3,000 ideas every single year. If I have that as part of my daily ritual, what's the probability that I'm going to come up with some ideas that are life-changing? Some ideas that are going to be profound in nature and take me to the next level. So be happy and successful now. Happiness is a decision that you can make at any stage in your life. Happiness has nothing to do with your success in life. Happiness is who you are. And I promise you, if you're laser focused on a gratitude attitude, focus on positive influences in your life, have that positive energy, joy radiating into every house, that alone can have a profound impact on your success in sales.